Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben's award-winning podcast, as voted by Grow Your Own magazine and by my followers and listeners. So if you're new to the podcast, make sure you click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts, listen back to all our previous episodes, sit back, grab a brew and let's enjoy today's episode. Hello and welcome back to Gardening with Ben. Well, it's Sunday and it has been an extremely windy day again. Yes, I was on nights last night, so I've not had a chance to go to the allotment today, but I've heard how bad the wind and the rain has been while I've been trying to sleep today. But it's my last night shift tonight, so hopefully I may get to the allotment for a couple of hours tomorrow, but we'll see what the weather's like. Usually when I've been on nights, I don't fancy going to the allotment as I'm still tired and drained. But come summertime, I'll certainly be going down there in the afternoon when I wake up to make full use of the summer weather. But hopefully we will start getting back to the allotment. I'll be down there on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday this week. So in them episodes, we will be talking about what we've been getting up to down at the plot and what is happening. But first, I just want to say thank you to all those that have recently subscribed. I've seen the subscriber rate go higher and new people are listening to it, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you for those that do listen to my podcast. And of course, I've got my second podcast channel as well, called Gardening and Allotment Tips Podcast. And the link is in the description for that one, so make sure you go and listen to that one as well. There's new episodes on there every single day, just like this one as well, so you get 2 episodes a day from Gardening with Ben. So what are we going to talk about today? Today we're going to talk about using the space in your allotment wisely and in your garden, as there's so much room in an allotment and garden. You don't realise how much room you have actually got. When you're growing stuff like your vegetables and your herbs and stuff like that, it's good to try and stick to the spacing between plants that it suggests. Sometimes a little bit wider, because you need to keep on top of the weeding. And sometimes you'll try and think, oh well, I can fit another row in there, or I can try and squeeze another vegetable in there. But sometimes that's not always a good idea. And the reason behind this is because you need to leave space in between the plants to be able to weed. And sometimes if the plants are too close together, they won't be able to get enough nutrients and enough water to make them flourish. So leaving the correct space in between the plants is important, because when I first started out my allotment, I used to cram as much stuff into a bed as possible to try and get as much vegetables out of my plot as possible. And a lot of people will do that, and like I say, sometimes you don't get good results from doing this, so it's always good to leave the spacing necessarily around it. But this year I'm going to look more at growing upwards and using the space off the ground as well, as I've never tried growing stuff in containers, walls and stuff like that. And obviously I'm on Instagram and I see so many ideas of trying to grow stuff in containers, and I'm going to give it a go this year at trying to grow different stuff in containers. And the one thing that I am going to try growing in a container this year is my carrots. I've never had any luck at growing carrots. They've always turned out useless when I've grown them in the soil in the ground, because it's too stony and they split, or they don't grow well, or the carrot fly get them and eat them, and I have no luck whatsoever with carrots. I've been doing them every single year for 16 years and I've never had a decent carrot out of it. But it's one thing that I will keep trying every single year to see how well I get on, because the packet of seeds that I buy, they're cheap enough, they're not expensive, so I just find it useful to try it every single year. But this year I'm going to try growing some carrots in containers, and obviously if you grow them into the container, you need to make sure that they've got holes in the bottom of the container so that they don't get waterlogged and stuff like that. But if you grow them in a container, you'll obviously be growing them in compost, which will not have stones in it like soil would, so they've got a better chance of growing straighter and better. And I've also seen people grow them in drain pipes as well to try and get them to grow nice and long and straight, and they've had some fantastic results from them. So there's different ways of doing stuff. And again, the same goes for strawberries. But if you've got a shed wall or something like that, or fencing up, I've seen people put drain pipes on the walls to grow strawberries along, or grow herbs in, or even they've set up growing lettuce in it, cut and come again lettuce, and it looks absolutely fantastic. The shed wall is just covered in different lettuces growing, and they have fantastic results from it. And obviously the only issue is growing in like drain pipes and pots and stuff like that, is that you've got to keep them watered, because they will dry out a lot faster than they would do if you grew them in the ground. So it's great to make use of the full space around you, and you could literally double the amount of stuff that you grow if you make use of that as much as possible. And the same goes for fencing. You can obviously put pots on the side of the fences and grow herbs, and even you can grow like runner beans in pots and grow them up canes in pots and stuff like that. So if you're living in a flat or a balcony and you've got some space, you can grow stuff in pots. And again, you can grow potatoes in pots. Potatoes do well in pots, and as long as they're deep enough, you can get a good crop from them. And there's so many things that you can grow in pots, like courgettes. You can grow melons in pots. You can obviously grow your tomatoes in pots, and cucumbers. So there's so much that you can grow in pots that you don't have to plant in the ground. There's only certain things that you do need to plant in the ground so that they can grow well and get good rootage and stuff like that. So it's about making use of every bit of space possible. So I'm either going to try growing some strawberries in drain pipe, because I have got some drain pipage down on the allotment and I need to make use of it. It's just been chucked on a rubbish pile for years. So I'm either going to grow some strawberries in it, or I'm going to look at growing some lettuce in it. Now I will have to make sure that it's screwed on well, because obviously when the lettuce gets bigger and you're watering it, it will become heavy. So make sure that it's fastened up well and secure, so that it don't end up collapsing. Knowing my luck, it will do, because I am absolutely rubbish at DIY. I follow someone on Instagram called Dean Timber, and he's putting maybe rubbish growing flowers, but he's fantastic at woodwork. And if you've not checked him out, he sells some fantastic stuff for the garden. I bought a trug off him years ago when I used to be called the Yorkshire Gardener, before I became Gardening with Ben, and I've still got it now. I did say to him the other day, I'm going to have to order a new one with Gardening with Ben on, just so that I've got a new one with my branding name on it. But they are absolutely fantastic trugs, and they're all handmade as well, and you can have your own name put into it. So check it out, Dean Timber, on Instagram, and have a look at his page. He sells bird houses and bird tables and boxes to keep your seeds in and stuff like that. Some fantastic stuff, and I find supporting other people that are doing little bits here and there a lot better than these big companies, because I do enjoy supporting independent businesses and helping them, really, because everybody wants to get by, and this is what Dean does as a living. So yeah, have a look at it and check out his page and order a trug, and I'm sure he'll be happy to make you one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to the allotment this week. Obviously 4 nights is a long week on nights, 12-hour shifts, so and obviously I'm working from home at the moment, so I don't get much fresh air, so it's good to get back out in the allotment again, and I'm really looking forward to spending the day on Tuesday down at the plot. Hopefully, like I say, I'll try and get to the plot tomorrow, but it all depends on what time I wake up, if I'm tired or not, and if the weather's decent. But we'll definitely be down on Tuesday. So I just want to say thank you for those that do message me, that do share all my podcasts, that have subscribed to my podcast as well, because it seems to be getting bigger and bigger every single week. Like I say, I'm quite sad. I like to look at stats, and 300 downloads a day I'm getting at the moment, and that's great to see from where it was last year. I got like 1,000 downloads in a month, and now it's like nearly 6,000 downloads in a month. So thank you very much for those that do support me, that do listen to me, and thank you for those that have looked at my gardening shop and purchased some cards or a t-shirt or a hoodie. It's always great to see how many people are supporting me. So I look forward to bringing you some brand new episodes next week, talking about my tales from the allotment. So until then, remember, keep smiling, keep gardening, and keep listening to Gardening with Ben's podcasts. So thank you for listening to today's episode of Gardening with Ben. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Remember to do click that subscribe button to stay up to date with all our podcasts. Feel free to share them on your Instagram stories so that it spreads the word about my podcast and we get lots more listeners. Feel free to check out my social media sites, Facebook and Instagram as well, Gardening with Ben, and also my YouTube channel, to stay up to date with all my handy videos, how-to videos, and sharing my tips and advice. And feel free to check the link as well in the description for my Gardening with Ben t-shirts. Lots of funny gardening design t-shirts in there for you to purchase at great prices too. So thanks again, and as always, remember, keep smiling and keep gardening.